The wait is over. Dive into Audible's most anticipated collection, The Best of 2025, featuring top audiobooks, podcasts, and originals across all genres. Our editors have carefully curated this year's must-listens, from brilliant hidden gems to the buzziest new releases. Every title in this collection has earned its spot. This is your go-to for the absolute best in 2025 audio entertainment. Whether you love thrillers, romance, or nonfiction, your next favorite listen awaits. Discover why there's more to imagine when you listen at audible.com/bestoftheyear.
I am Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. One of her advocacy, channeling wisdom, sparking transformation, and author of several books, none other than Miss Jessica Herman.
Hi there.
Welcome, Miss Jessica. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Sure. So, my name's Jessie Herman. I'm Canadian originally. I live in Milan, Italy. And several years ago, I began channeling the entity group called Vagrein, which is a non-physical entity group that shares wisdom of unity consciousness and radical self-acceptance. And with working with them and having their messages come through me, I've created several books and several programs, and that's what I want to share with you today.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Jessica. Thank you. So tell us your writing process of all your books.
Sure. So it's a little bit of an unusual writing process because the material that comes through, I'm not actually conscious of it coming through while it's being written or while it's being transmitted. So the first book, which is Vagrein Seeking Ends When Sharing Begins, was a compilation of the first 6 months of channeling that came through with this entity group, then spliced up into different topics, into different subjects, and put together in a format that could make it linear and coherent for us to be able to read through and garner all the wisdom that they shared on relationships, on abundance, on health, on your service to other people in the world. So that is what that first book process writing was like. With the Insight book, those are direct transmissions that were recorded online during live events and then transcribed and put into the book process. And that talks about balance, it talks about surrender, it talks about how to prepare for the future, and a lot of different things.
What are your struggles in writing all those books, Miss Jessica?
Yeah, sure. So it is a struggle sometimes to write books with Vagrein. In fact, I am attempting to write the next book for the last several years because I really do have to collaborate with the wisdom that comes through and wait. And I think this is really akin to other authors and waiting for that inspiration, not necessarily leaning into something like writer's block or something like that.
Mm-mm.
But I believe that all writers are getting their information, their wisdom, their creativity from a higher source. And it's no different with me and Vagrein. I have to wait for the right moment to be able to bring through their messages. And sometimes that takes a little bit longer than other times. Also, it's a little bit difficult at times to decipher what to include in a book and what to leave out for the next books, etc. So that is a little bit the challenges that I face with them.
Interesting, Miss Jessica. What is the very first thing that comes to you when a new book is born? Is it the character, a line of dialogue, a central theme, a specific image you can shake?
So for me, it's more the inspiration of the theme of the book and what the overall arcing message is going to be. Future books, for example, have to do with challenges that humanity's facing, or a call to change, which should be the next book, is about how we are all stepping into new forms of our experiences. And then that is really where the book starts from.
Miss Jessica, every book often starts with a central compelling question. What if a core question that propelled you to write this particular book?
Yes. So the main question of Seeking Ends When Sharing Begins, which is the white book here,
Mm-hmm.
is how does one step out of their role of being a spiritual seeker, let's say, and start becoming the spiritual being that they are to deliver to the world their special messages, etc. Everyone has something in their life that they want to give to the world, and a lot of us are waiting for validation or waiting for permission to allow ourselves to move into that space where we can deliver more to the world. But if you have that original question of how do I get from being a student of existence to being a teacher or a leader within existence, then that is the question that's answered in this book.
Definitely. And beyond the initial idea, what was it about this story or topic that made you commit to spending hundreds of hours? What it or with it? What made it feel necessary for you to write?
So, for this particular book, the underlying and burning question to get me to wake up, because I did wake up at 4 a.m. every morning. I had very small children at the time of writing the book.
Mm-hmm.
To put it together every morning, the motivation for that was really the way that the world is going right now, that so many people are so lost and they cannot find their direction, and they are suffering and they are causing all kinds of suffering to the people that they love around them, causing all kinds of more chaos in the world. And we're in this space of division that's been occurring on the planet. The books that come through when I'm writing are absolutely solutions to this desperation. They are the response to this desperation. And so it felt absolutely fundamental to get these books out and to allow people, all the people who have read them since, to have a little window into the light at the end of this sort of tunnel of what seems to be humanity being in a bit of chaos. So that was really the motivating factor. And you're right, it does take a long time to write a book and get it together and publish it and do all the things that are necessary for it. But for me, it was really important that even if the book impacted just one person on the planet and gave
Mm-hmm.
them the inspiration to change their life a little bit, to follow their dreams a bit more, to improve their health a bit more, to be kinder in their relationships, then every single minute, every single second put into working on this book was absolutely worth it. It was that important to me. And that's really what got me getting up every morning and really knocking out the book.
It's priceless, people, if you empower one of 8
Yes.
billion people in the world. What does your ideal writing day actually look like? Are you strict, write at 5 a.m., disciplinarian, or do you write a passionate, untamed verse?
So when the writing or the compiling of the books is coming through, so during the putting together of the channel messages or during the actual writing, if it's an automatic write type of thing, it does come through quite spontaneously and unpredictably in terms of there is no actual strict schedule. But once the content is created, once there is that information that's there, maybe you could call it a rough draft, then
Mm-hmm.
it does become a question of being very strictly devoting time to it. So I'll either schedule time in a day, or like with these first books, it really was a question of committing to getting it done as fast as possible, which would mean finding every moment in the day that was free to get in front of the computer, get the edits done, get the uh, text all organized, mixing things around. So there's diligence, but it's only after the first inspiration period that occurs.
Interesting writing process, Miss Jessica. Are you a meticulous outliner who knows every plot point before chapter one, or you intuitive pantser who discovered the story by writing? Or did that method serve all your books?
So, absolutely no outline whatsoever. I do not know what's going on. at any point that I'm writing a book. So it really is all that channeled inspiration. It's not something that is planned out in advance. I might have the main theme, like I said, for future books, but I have no idea what's going to come through or what the wisdom will be. What does tend to occur, though, is that once it begins to come through, then it's almost as if the outline is drawn immediately before each part is written. So I get sort of the entire content in its outline before it then flows through. So that's quite interesting. It does mean it's a little unpredictable writing books. You don't know what's going to happen. But it also is similar to our lives. And that is kind of how we are living our lives, that we don't really know the outline of the entire story. We get to enjoy each chapter as it's unfolding.
Miss Jessica, how did you find the narrative voice for all your books? Did it come to your fully form, or did you have to write you want to be?
No, so everything that comes through in my books is really fully formed before it even hits my own perception of it or my own opinions of it. So I would say that it is very much inspiration based. It is coming in from a source of collective consciousness or collective information, and that there isn't any sort of strategy or structure behind it before I get started. I think a lot of authors work in this way, in that, yes, you do then reorganize things and clean them up. But in terms of the purity of the what would be considered a storyline or the theme that runs through things, it is coming in from an inspirational source.
Yes. So where do you do your best writing? Is it a specific room, a cafe, a library, or how does a physical environment feed your creativity?
So I love being at home. I'm always working at home, and that is where I do my best writing. It tends to be in the early hours of the morning if it's coming through a new book, and in my space, my comfort zone, in the quiet and the silence of my own space.
Yes. Seeking ends when sharing begins. What it's all about.
Well, it's all about that journey of being a human, how we are always looking for answers outside ourselves, but really ultimately, when people get to know themselves, when they get to embrace who they truly are, they then begin to be able to share their own gifts with the rest of the world. So when you stop looking outside of yourself, you can begin to start sharing the gifts that are coming from within. And that's really what the book is. It's a guide on how to do that and how to really tap into your own inner purpose, your own passions, your own desires, and bring them forth for the rest of the world to enjoy.
Yes, from the rest of the world. How about the inside, miss?
Insight is more of a reflective book in which you can open it up to any chapter, read it through, and see the way that it changes your own inner landscape so that you can have inspiration for your day. So it's more of an oracle type of book. It's not necessarily that you can read it or that you need to read it linearly from one chapter to the next. You can start with any chapter that feels resonant to you and read it almost as if they're short stories, but short stories of inspiration for your own life.
Yes. Personal planner.
Yes, that one is more of a practical tool where you can go through and find out about yourself, do workbook type of exercises, and discover really very much about yourself. It can help you organize your time, organize your structure. This is also great for authors because then you can go in and figure out your writing schedule, etc. But it's really to plan your life and to get yourself organized to be living the life that you really choose to live.
Yes, definitely. But last but not the least, the journal.
Yes. So the journal is a notebook for you to jot down all the notes that you want to. And within there are quotes, there's inspiration for you to, as you go along in your journaling, have that support from the Vagrein energy.
Mm, yes, hoping for more and more empowering books to come, Miss Jessica.
Thank you.
Almost every writer hits a wall in the middle of a project. What did that look like for you with this book? That what are you keep pushing through the doubt and inertia?
So, yeah, it's not pleasant when you have to have patience. I think walls are a little bit like patience, and they're asking you for that sense of perseverance or discipline. And it can be frustrating, but my advice to anyone who is hitting a wall with whatever project they're in is that trust in the timing of the universe organizing everything around what you're doing. You might be hitting that wall because there's something else in your life that you're being asked to deal with in this now moment, whether that be your health or your relationships or even your own joy. And as soon as you address yourself on a holistic level and nurture the entire human self that you are, your creativity will begin to flow again and you will be able to access more and more of that inspiration. So when there's a wall, allow yourself a little bit of time to enjoy yourself and then come back to it fresh, come back to it new, and see if that flows. And sometimes it's just a question of sitting down and saying, okay, well, I'm going to write for 5 minutes. Force yourself to write for those 5 minutes. And you might find out it turns out to be 2 hours of writing.
Mm. What was the single most impactful piece of feedback you received from editor or trusted reader that fundamentally changed the manuscript for the better?
So it was very important to understand what themes each piece of content were related to make it comprehensible and digestible by the reader. So I had a lot of help in terms of the editing on that, figuring out where each piece fits, because the writing structure, especially of Seeking Ends When Sharing Begins, was almost as if it was a collage of cutting up different sentences, different paragraphs, and then gluing them all back together. And I really believe that it's very important to have that external feedback from an editor or from someone that you're working with so that they have fresh eyes on a project. Because as the writer or as the person that's bringing through the information, as the channel in my case, you will not be able to see where the incomprehension is. So I would suggest always to get tons of feedback and then follow your own inner gut to understand which to apply to the project.
Miss Jessica, as an author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
I would love to have more time to write, more time to be with the books, more ability to reach more people, which is why it's wonderful to come on your show here and let them know really how transformative and profound these messages are. That is really my long-term goal with any sort of writing. I think that the written word lasts a very long time. It'll last far after our human lives. And
Mm-hmm.
so it is really a beautiful contribution that I'm hoping to leave when I'm done with my time here on this planet, so that humanity and everyone who could read these books moves forward and always is feeling more fulfilled in their lives. That's really my end goal.
Well, good luck to you goals, Miss Jessica, and
Thank
looking
you.
forward for more success. And what would be a piece of advice for those people out there who want to be an author like you?
Sure. My advice at this point, having published a couple books, is just do it. Just go ahead and write your book. Don't worry too much about what's going to happen with it, where it's going to go to. Pardon me.
God bless
But
you.
allow yourself to take the leap of sharing what's inside of you, even if you don't feel like it's the best thing you've ever done. You can only feel that way if you've improved during the process. So allow yourself to write, allow yourself to put yourself out there, allow yourself to fearlessly dive into your dreams and goals. And I swear there's no better way to live life. So go ahead, write your book, follow your passion, follow your dream, and begin sharing your gifts.
Begin sharing your gift, people, and stop procrastinating. This will be your legacy to the world. Miss Jessica, thank you for that advice. And can you please recommend a book or books that influenced your journey?
Yes, sure. So, some books that have influenced my journey are The Autobiography of a Yogi, which is a very beautiful book by Paramahansa Yogananda, and
Mm-hmm.
the book, which is called Busting Loose from the Money Game, which is an interesting book because it seems like it's a business type of book, but it's absolutely not. It's more a way to see reality in a very empowering way, and that is by Robert Scheinfeld. So those would be my top recommendations of books to go out and read right away, and have really inspired my journey.
Yes, thank you for that recommended books, Miss Jessica. And writing a book is a marathon, not a sprint. What kept you going on the days when motivation was low and the finish line felt impossibly far away?
Yeah, I say that nurture your other hobbies, your other habits as well at the same time. So if you're not in the middle of writing and you enjoy reading, go ahead and read something. Go ahead and create something with your hands. Go cook something. Keep yourself in the creative space, even if you're not feeling like writing. Do it in some other way. So you're taking a little bit of a step away from the writing process, and then you'll have the energy to come back. Like you said, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So you really do have to keep nurturing yourself and nourishing yourself so that you have the energy to go ahead and continue the project, because it can be very long, that's for sure.
Very long indeed. And Miss Jessica, how did you know the manuscript was truly finished? What is that failing? A deadline, or did someone have to gently pry it from your hands?
Mm. So, you know what? I'm not entirely sure. It was more of a sensation of completeness, that everything was exactly as it needed to be, everything was in order, everything was in the right place. So, I would say up until the point in which it was finished, I didn't know it was near being finished. And then once it was finished, I knew. So it's a very strange sensation, but it's very much a visceral thing. You just go, it's done. And then, of course, there's, a million edits to look at and to polish up. But there's also a moment at the editing process where you go, you know what? This is good enough, because you can edit forever if you wanted to. But it became important to get the book out. So it wasn't so much there was an actual deadline, but it started to feel like an urgency to finish up this project and start on the next.
Yes. So, Miss Jessica, now your books is out in the world. What has been the most surprising or moving reaction from a reader?
So it is always surprising to me to hear when a reader or a participant, someone who is involved in my work, tells me that they carry the book around with them in their backpack every day of their life, even though they finished reading it, or that it is so doodled in and so many notes have been taken in it that they've had to buy a second copy just to keep on their bookshelf, because this other one has become a tattered and worn out manual for their life that they've put millions of bookmarks into. Some have even brought me those books to see when I've met them in person, and it has been absolutely so fulfilling to see that someone is actually using these books to transform themselves, to transform their own lives, and it has impacted them so deeply. There are different people for having read it. So that really, again, my goal was to impact one person, and I've had the blessing of being able to impact hundreds of people through these books. And, this momentum is continuing. So I'm so honored to have been part of everyone's journey.
Mhm. So, Miss Jessica, what is the core feeling, idea, or question you hope lingers with a readers long after they turn the final pages of your books?
So I really hope that people, when they're finished reading these books, have a beautiful understanding of how unique and beautiful they are, and how their own gifts are just, the world is just waiting to hear from everybody. The world is just waiting to hear what you have to share. And if someone can close the book and feel inspired to be more themselves, then that is just absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Priceless, people.
Yes.
Priceless. So, Miss Jessica, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my Abstract Essay is already in fifth season, Abstract Poetry in second season, and my Book 101 review in fifth season too, Comedy 101 in second season, and my Food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101, Love Letters, Movie 101 review, Music 101 are in fourth season, Science 101, Sex 101, second season, and my baby podcast, Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Jessica, having completed your journey of each books that you are writing, what is one lesson from this writing process that you will carry forward into your next project?
Definitely the process of writing itself and self-publishing has been really beautiful. I've loved that. And also, again, the more that you can share your own gifts with the world, the more the world shares gifts back with you. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you're interested in writing, this is why you're listening to this podcast, or you're interested in reading, or you're interested in anything really, then what you're going to want to do is give to the world, because then the gifts that come back to you are tenfold. So go ahead and share your gifts. That's what I would have to say.
Yes, and Miss Jessica Herman, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books? Miss Jessica,
Yes.
where do people can reach you,
Yes.
or buy your books?
So my website is www.jpherman.com. And you can buy my books on Amazon. So go and head over and look for any of these titles. Look for JP Herman and you'll find them.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Jessica Herman, because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Miss Jessica, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
More to come, people. See you soon.